Hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we are live on a Sunday afternoon. And welcome to everybody. If you are in the chat room for the first time or watching it on the replay, very, very warm welcome to you. Today, what we do on Soul Sunday is we just get ourselves grounded a bit, ready for the coming week. And the way that we do that is that we actually just work with some quotes that I've pulled out, and then, well, hi, Jody, then talk about whatever it is that brings up for us on this particular day. I always say to people, you know, I could read exactly the same quotes next week and the impact it would have would be different because we're in a different space. And that is something to always be aware of, that the reason that affirmations work so well, hi, Isabel, the way that that even going through quotes works so well is because it just readjusts your mind. So I thought what we do today is talk a little bit about mindfulness. And in case any of you don't know what that is, they say, and so now, they say that it's a quality or state of being consciously aware of something, or a mental state achieved by focusing one's awareness on the present moment while calmly acknowledging and accepting one's feelings, thoughts, bodily sensations. So this is not about doing it right or wrong. This is just about be aware of how these different quotes affect you. And, you know, if they affect you warmly, then, you know, let's talk about that. If they bring up something else, let's talk about that as well. If it brings up a memory, let's talk about that. So the idea today is just for us to be calm and at peace. Let's forget about everything that happened last week and let's work on what we are trying to achieve this week. Okay, with that, let's give it a go. The Dalai Lama said that, you know, if you want to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. So our number one goal this week is to be aware and be more compassionate. How many of you think you could manage that for this week? And it's really interesting because the way that I try, hi, Evera, from the UK, where in the UK? Obviously, with my accent, I started some of my life there. Welcome. And how did you find us? Jack Cornfield, I think he's the one that wrote all the Chicken Soup for the Soul things, I think. When we get caught up in the busyness of the world, we lose connection with one another and ourselves. How many of you have found that when you get so tied up in everything that's worrying you sick, literally, when you get so caught up on the overwhelm, you actually lose part of yourself? Have any of you ever found that? And so one of the interesting things is to go, if I am in overwhelm, I am not living in the present. I am either living in the future or in the past. Because if you can stay in the present, there is no rush. It's just one step at a time. If you are busy doing the what if monster, you know, that's fine to be a risk manager. But I know for one, as I'm a risk manager, but you know, you can go do too much what ifs. And some of you will know that as well. So do what you can not to get caught up in the busyness this week. And stay focused on what it is you want to achieve. Jody, I know there is one really big goal that you're trying to achieve, and I just want to know whether you managed it this morning or not. And if anybody else has got a goal that they want to work on this week, just let us know so that we can support you in that. Let go of your mind and then be mindful. Close your ears and listen. Don't you love that? Close your ears and listen. In other words, block out everything external and just listen to what it is that your mind is trying to tell you. How many of you have found that you get some really good information if you just take a second and do that? Have any of you found that? How many of you have say to yourselves, I've got this problem, but I'm going to sleep on it? Because just let your mind sort it out. It will tell you what answer it wants or what answer it has to give you. Congratulations, Jody. Well done. She's saying she did do what she wanted to do. Look at other people and ask yourself if you are really seeing them or just your thoughts about them. Ooh, that's a big one, isn't it? How many times have you sat even in front of somebody and you're so busy concentrating on what it is you want to say next, you lose sight and hearing of what it is that they're busy trying to tell you? And so look at other people and ask yourself if you're really seeing them. You remember, I don't know if Beth's going to be in the broadcast today, but one of the things that I said to Beth was with her husband, when he talks to her, try stopping and actually looking at him and saying, let me concentrate on what you're saying. And I'm sure that any of you that are in relationship might want a reminder to do that occasionally. And it's worth it just to see the reaction. And that's even with your relationship with your friends. How many of you, when you're talking to your friends and say, well, yeah, but, you go, whoa, wait a minute. Let me just concentrate. Let me look at the other person and ask myself, am I really seeing them and listening to them? Or am I just busy processing them? Michelle May said, when I'm hungry, I eat what I love. When I'm bored, I do something I love. And when I'm lonely, I connect with someone I love. And when I feel sad, I remember that I am loved. Wow, how powerful is that? When I'm hungry, I eat what I love. When I'm bored, I do something that I love. When I'm lonely, I connect with someone I love. And when I feel sad, I remember that I am loved. Whew. That is something that is worth putting up on everybody's mirror. I love this next quote because it is so true, isn't it? Little things, the little moments, they are not little. Do any of you have a little thing that somebody did for you, or a little message that somebody left for you that turned out to be huge rather than little? I can remember when I was in a really heartbreaking place at one stage of my life. And one friend of mine she knew that I wouldn't want to be talking to anybody because I was in too much grief. But what she did is she kept leaving messages on my telephone telling me that she was sending me a hug. And it wasn't a text, and it wasn't, mind you, it might have been before we had that ability. But just every now and then I'd have a message and I'd pick up the message and it just said, I wanted to send you a hug. That's all. Bye. And it was such a small thing, but, during that time that I was going through so much turmoil, that little hug once or twice a day just took me out of myself and reminded me I was, for however much grief I was in, somebody out there cared about that and didn't need to interrupt it. And it was beautiful. It was really nice. So if you know anybody that is grieving at any level, just a little contact is amazing. How many of you have been through grief and realize that it's the little things that people do that really matter? And I know people mean so well, don't they? Oh, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. You won't be fine for quite a while. I try very hard to be honest with people if they're going through something that they've never been through before, and say, the first year will be difficult. The first anniversary, the first Christmas, the first whatever. But after that, it doesn't get easier. What it is you see it differently. Because I don't want to say you'll be fine, because I don't think anybody ever is quite the same again. That doesn't mean that you're not better in some ways because you've learned. But be careful what you say to people in grief. And I think the little thing, like I'm sending you a hug, letting you know I'm thinking of you, is a great little message to send. Edith Wharton said, believe me, all of you, the best way to help the places we live in is to be glad that we live there. I don't know what that brings up for you, but I'm a very fortunate person. I've lived in so many different parts of the world. And I'm amazed how many times people, when they hear how much I travel, say to me, where do you consider home? And I said, where I live now. Yes, but what about, and I go, no, where I am now is my home. And if I move next week, where I live then will be my home. Nada, welcome, and I'm sorry you have a headache. Just, you try just massaging your temples a little and see if it helps. How about this one? Life is not lost by dying. Life is lost minute by minute, day by dragging day, in all the small, uncaring ways. I'm amazed how many people have spoken to me about different things that have happened to me. And I try to remind people that none of us know how much time we have left. Just because I've got gray hair doesn't mean that I'm going to not be around longer than anybody else. We just don't know. So living in Tomorrowland is really not the ideal place to be. Living in today and enjoying today is exactly where you need to be. I am amazed that doing the broadcasts, how much I am aware that really I will never know, and nor will you, how much impact we have on the world. I just know that it's worth doing. And Jack Cornfield again said, the things that matter most in our lives are not fantastic or grand. They are moments when we touched one another. And I'm certain that each of us can think of a moment where somebody did something really amazing. They probably didn't realize that it was amazing, but it was to you. And I wonder, hi, Kerry. I wonder if we take the time to let that person know that that little thing they said or did actually did have an incredible impact. And the more times we can remind people that that little good thing that they did had an impact on us, the more it will encourage them to do more. And I would go back to that quote that we heard and remind you, whatever it is you are lacking in your life, give it to somebody else. You know, if you feel unloved, do something loving for somebody else. If you are feeling lonely, be a friend to somebody else. You know, it was one of the most amazing little bits of advice that was given to me. And funny enough, it was given to me by our chiropractor when I was having a lot of problems. And, you know, I can remember the chiropractor saying to me, "You seem very tense. What are you upset about?" And I said, "Oh, you know, I'm just really blah, 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 blah." And he said, "Why don't you try giving that to somebody else? It will help your back." And I'm going, "What? No, you don't understand. I want it." He's saying, "Yes. Give it to somebody else, and you will find your back is a lot better." And for those of you who've heard me talk about Louise Hay, it is amazing to me how often what she has to say about the connection between what we're feeling and the aches and pains we have in our body, just amazing. What if you don't have someone to give it to, Nada? Get out of the house. Find somebody. You know, the thing that I've always said, that I know, this is just my experience, Nada. I can go shopping and make a difference in somebody's life. You found the You Can Heal Your Life audiobook by Louise Hay. Awesome. I have got the links to that in the resource page of DearMamaSal.com broadcasts. And if you click on that menu, one of them is resources, and it'll give you the link into Louise Hay's book. You know, it is amazing, though, if you look at that, how many times it really does connect, and you're going, wow, how weird is that? Sometimes the simplest thing is the most amazing thing. Yes, I've started a resource page there, Nada, because I realized that a lot of times I talk about things, and I wanted one place where people could go if they knew, wait a minute, Sal talked to, you know, maybe a month from now, you're thinking, wow, Sal talked about that in a broadcast. And I wanted one place where you could go where I keep a track of the things. Well, Jody does, actually. She's very good at that. Keep track of the things and, you know, be able to feed it back to you. Yeah. So at any time when you think, wait a minute, Sal talked about that, you can go to the DearMamaSal.com, go to our broadcast menu, and it's one of those. I found something I just wanted to show you, not that I'm selling the thing, because I'm not, but I have a back problem, and I don't know if you can see this thing, but I saw this advertised probably on Facebook or something, and I thought, well, you know, I might as well try it. And, you know, I want to tell you, it's probably one of the best little gizmos I've ever bought in my life in terms of really helping me with my back. And what I normally do is at night, I put it against my pillow as I sit and do work on my computer, and it just massages my back. Yeah, I want to tell you that you know, they say lie on the floor and do it, but I actually find it really useful to put against a pillow and just lean against it, and it, you know, and you can roll against it and it does a massage. I've also got a massage pad. But this is really good for just, you know, getting that kink out in a hurry. Joey Green said, the way to live in the present is to remember that this too shall pass. Just hold on 1 second. Nada, Jody, if you can remind me to send Nada that back link. I've actually got the link. I kept it somewhere. I just have to find it, because I knew that somebody else would probably need it, Nada. Okay, the way to live in the present is to remember that this too shall pass. When you experience joy, remember that this too shall pass. Helps you savor the here and now, and experience pain and sorrow, remembering that this too shall pass. And it reminds you that grief, like joy, is only temporary. When we can learn to accept the good things in our life along with the bad, it is amazing how our life changes, that we don't see it, take it all personally. You know, who said that life should be easy? Nobody that I know. You know, that the definition of being able to live a mindful life is to accept what is going on in our lives. Nada, it's our pleasure. It's what we love to do. And I thank you for taking the time to be here. And Kerry, I totally understand the frustration of a reset on a phone, but I know you well enough to know that you will take whatever time it takes to slowly get it all back to the way you like it. Change is always difficult because it messes up our routine. It takes a little bit longer. Believe you me, Kerry, I know that from downsizing. You know, it's like, where did I decide to hide these things now? I have no idea. I'm still trying to find my gray pants, trousers for those of you in England, my gray pants that I put away at the beginning of the end of last winter, thinking that I would have been moved by the time I needed them again, therefore they would be unpacked, and I have no idea where they are. I've got one box with about 3 pairs of gray pants and tops to match them. But, you know, it'll be really exciting when I find them again. I'll have new clothes. Wisdom says, oh, so sorry, for some reason, all my screens disappeared from me. I can see what happened. Just bear with me 1 second, people. There we go. Wisdom says that we are nothing. Love says we are everything. And between those two, our life flows. You see, if we think we are too much, you know, we're too important in life, then we will be disappointed. If we think we're nothing, we're lying. Yes, Jody, it definitely will be like Christmas when I find them again. And I'll go, why didn't I look here first? You know, they're in some simple place, not where I've looked, because you believe you me, I have looked, Jody. I have been through the garage twice going, I must have taken them down to the garage. Hi, Beth. I was talking about you earlier. Yep. Each place is the right place. The place where I am now can be a sacred place. Think about that. Each place is the right place. Be in the moment. If you're in the kitchen, be in the kitchen. Don't be in the kitchen thinking about the 1,001 things that you have to do in another place or room. You know, just take time. How many have you compartmentalize your life? I really do believe if you have the ability to take 10 minutes to plan your day and then literally plan your day in 10-minute little steps, you know, of things you want to achieve. Okay, Kerry, hi there, and thank you for doing as much as you can. We send you a big hug, honey. And best of luck with the job. So each place is the right place. Be in that place each time. If you really focus. One of the things that I have discovered is in being retired is that, you know, I miss going to work because you really had to focus on things to get things done. When you're retired, you know, it's not that important. You know, you got the whole day and then you end up not doing it at all. It's really scary. You know, and it's like you have to, well, not have to, I choose to concentrate every now and then and go, I want to focus now. That's what I used to do at work. I need to focus. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Because if you don't focus, the day is gone and you haven't done half of what you wanted to do, unless you're Beth. In the end, just three things matter: how well we have lived, how well we have loved, and how well we have learned to let go. This is a week where it's really amazing. Last week, all sorts of things were going really weird for a number of us. And I just said, let's just blame it on Mercury being in retrograde. Because really there is, have you ever found that with some weeks just, try as you might, you just don't seem to be able to take a step forward, but it's just life doing its thing. Yes, but for you, one of your things is, and also how clean are you? Yeah. Boy, I can't help thinking that if, and maybe one day, and hopefully I'm still alive, you will actually learn that is not a measure of your worth. It was really interesting, Beth, because I say it many times. When I first met Yvonne, she was immaculately clean about everything and immaculate about where every single thing should be, very OCD. And I look at her now and she's happy. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not that important anymore. It's, she is clean and she is tidy, but boy, she is not obsessed anymore. And it is wonderful to watch her. It took 20 years, but it is amazing. She worked hard at it. Yes, I want to tell you, Beth, that when my daddy died, Beth is saying that when her mum passed, we had to clean her hoard house, and it was awful. I want to tell you, when my daddy died, we had to, my real father, who I hardly met, I went down there. It took me 8 hours to clean. I know you're not going to believe this, but it took me 8 hours to clean the sink area. And I'm not a clean freak, but there was so much junk on there. And it, literally, it was a horrendous job. Hi, Sharon. Sharon saying, okay, I was meant to hear all of this. I'm really struggling now for various reasons. Well, big hug, Sharon, and I'm glad you're here. And let us know how we can support you. If you want to let us know what's going on, do. If you don't, that's also okay. Roy Bennett said, be mindful, be grateful, be positive, be true, and be kind. Be mindful, be grateful, be positive, be true, be kind. If you do each of those, you will be happy. I believe. Yes, Beth, I want to tell you that when I was doing the renovations of my house 5 years ago, I had a dumpster. Actually, I had a trailer come in, a guy with a trailer, and I filled it twice. And it's still taken me a year to downsize my house. So believe you me, I never considered myself a hoarder, but I was amazed at the things that I had in my house that I really had no need for. Every time we become aware of a thought, as opposed to being lost in a thought, we experience that opening of the mind. Listen to that again. Every time we become aware of a thought, as opposed to being lost in a thought, we experience that opening of the mind. And for those of you who know me well and have been following the broadcast well, I actually have to tell you that I wait for guidance as to what subject I should discuss for those Friday broadcasts. And I know that Jody knows this because we quite often talk about it. And it's really amazing to me how I will be going, it'll be Wednesday, and I'm thinking, I have no idea what I'm going to be doing on Friday. And it's just, and then I open up my mind. I don't know if any of you can imagine this. And I just listen to what I'm hearing, or I watch what happens. And, I'll get a telephone call and somebody will talk to me about something and I go, wow, that's a really good subject. Or I'll see an email from somebody, because people write to me privately. And if you'd like to do that, please do that at DearMamaSal@gmail.com. And, I'll read what it is that they have emailed me about. And I go, that's a really good subject to talk about. And it strikes me as so amazing that, sort of all these years later, and I still just wait for the guidance. And sometimes it gets a bit close. I don't mind telling you that. But it is just really interesting to look at. And I realize that I don't have to look very far. I just have to open up my mind. Do you guys know what I mean by that? I need to see what's going on around me. I need to feel what somebody said and why it hurt. And, I just need to be more aware. And if I'm more aware, then I will have a topic. This comes from David Kane, and he said, essentially, meditation allows us to live in ways that are less automatic. This necessarily means less time spent worrying, ruminating, that's thinking about it over and over again, and trying to control things we cannot control. It means we become less vulnerable to the throes of the fear-driven older parts of our brains, and freer to use the newer and more sophisticated mental abilities, those of patience, compassion, acceptance, and reason. Wow. I'm going to read that again. Essentially, meditation allows us to live in ways that are less automatic. Slow down, people. I don't know how many of you meditate, but I want to tell you, if you want to learn how to do it, if you love these broadcasts where I slow it down, that is part of meditation. This necessarily means we spend less time worrying, ruminating, and trying to take control of things we cannot control. How much more time would you have in your day if you let go of trying to control things you can't control and stop worrying about things not worth worrying about? It means we become less vulnerable to the throes of the fear-driven older parts of our brains and freer to use our newer and more sophisticated mental abilities, patience, compassion, acceptance, and reason. That is a great way to live your week. Jody's saying, the inspiration always comes. And I've never seen one broadcast topic that didn't help people. Very often at the very time that they say they needed it the most. Oh, it brings tears to my eyes. It's amazing and so wonderful to see. Yeah, Jody, it's, I can't take credit for it, if you get my drift. I just ask to know. And I am honored that there have been times when I don't mind telling you that I had a complete broadcast ready one week. And about 2 hours before the broadcast, I got this really strong message that I should do a different topic. And I'm going, in my logic mind's going, yeah, but I've already got this one. And it just said, change the topic. You need to talk about this. And yeah, I mean, I've only got 2 hours. You need to talk about this. Okay. And so I took the 2 hours or whatever it was that I had left and quickly put a broadcast together about that topic. And yes, Sharon, you're right. There are times when I have to feel like I am the vessel, and I just, and the incredible thing was that particular broadcast. I think about 3 different people in that broadcast wrote to me. Some told me during the broadcast, others wrote to me, people who hadn't been aware of on the broadcast, but they wrote to me and thanked me. And so you go, what do I know? I just do what I'm told. And I think that is being mindful as well. How many of you do your life too much on what the world tells you, not what your brain, your mind tells you? And for those of you who were with me, when I was busy thinking about buying a 5th wheel, and yet when the moment came, I got this really loud noise in my head that said, don't do it. Don't buy this. And I still to this day don't know why, but I didn't. Well, actually, I think I do know why, because I would have to have taken it over in a couple of weeks and I haven't sold my house yet because it's not even on the market yet. Feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor. For any of you who suffer from anxiety, and I know a lot of my viewers do, there is no doubt in my mind, because not only have I practiced it, but other viewers have practiced it and have been amazed at the impact it has. Whenever you feel you're having an anxiety moment, stop. Concentrate on breathing in for 5 counts. Hold for 5. And exhale for 5. And when you can do 5 of those, count them on your fingers, then inhale for 6, hold for 6, exhale for 6. And see if you can get, how high you can get. I assure you that the reason it works is you are now increasing the amount of air you get into your body. Because when we go into anxiety, we breathe from about this level. Have any of you noticed you're sort of shallow breathing when you do that? When you're forced to inhale enough to be able to count to 5, you take in a bit more air. Makes sense. And if you hold it, you're not hyperventilating. And then you let it all out. I believe you let out all the anxiety at the same time. That is how I see it. But what they say is that if you can count, you will reduce the anxiety. And if you count enough, you will be out of your anxiety attack. Beth is saying, lol, when I count fast, I breathe too fast, I can't even slow down to breathe slowly. That is your choice, Beth. It's not that you can't. You choose not to. You choose not to give yourself that time. I need you to know it's not that you can't. I know you can. The reason I know you can is I have seen what you are capable of doing when you want to. And so practice, Beth. Even if I know you're a multitasker. That's the way you live your life. So yeah, you're always on the next task in your mind. What I would say to you, you know how you spend your time meal prepping at weekends, Beth? I'm thinking about that would be a great time, when you're doing the mindless bit of putting it into different containers. That's pretty mindless work for somebody with your brain. All right? What if you just literally count, literally do it with a mentality of counting. I will put 1 in here. I'm going to put 1 in here. That's 2. I'm going to put 1 in here. That's 3. 1, 2, 3. Do you understand what I'm saying? Instead of just going chunk, 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 which is what I'm sure you do, just give yourself the timing. I would almost, what I would recommend? Yes, 1 egg, breathe. 2 eggs, breathe. Yes, that would be wonderful. Take it as your Zen time, Beth. How many of you can think, other than Beth, how many of you can think of a time when you can take that? Maybe it's, I did a big thing on a shower door this week. And have you noticed that the more you try to clean a shower door, the worse it becomes? It actually was much cleaner before I started. Yeah, be at one with your egg. Hello, egg. Hello, egg 2. Nice to meet you. And egg 3. I'd love to see you do. I'd love you to do it because it will also make you laugh. And if you find that you are doing it and laughing, would you see me laughing with you? Because it would give me great joy. So remember, conscious breathing is my anchor. And what I want you to be aware of, Beth, is, watch your heart rate. Your heart rate will drop. We've done it many times on the show where literally we've done that counting thing, and I can prove that my heart rate dropped when I did it. Somebody once said that use every distraction as an object of meditation, and they cease to be distractions. Have you ever done that? Have you ever been busy doing something and suddenly you find yourself in another room and you're going, what the so-and-so am I doing here? And then you'll move something and you find the thing you've been looking for a month or a week or an hour or whatever it is. I'm amazed sometimes when that happens to me and I find myself in the wrong room and I go, stop for a moment. There's a reason why you're in this room. You just don't know what it is yet. And then what I will do is I will start tidying things up in that room, or just do something that keeps me in the room a little bit longer than that split second that Beth knows about. And I just slow down. And 9 times out of 10, I want to tell you, I find something, or I realize that something is wrong in that room that I need to fix. And it is truly amazing. It wasn't a distraction. It was, in fact, a warning. The mind is just like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets, and the more it can expand. I found, by the way, for those of you who try the breathing, that I could do that when I was walking. And I could get myself up to 10 strides, hold for 10 strides, and let go for 10 strides. I was amazed. If you're walking, it's a great way to pass the time and to make you be in the moment. Yes, Beth is saying that she does that at work. She'll go down an aisle and she'll think, why did I come down here? And Junie, you have to pause, calm down, and focus. And 9 times out of 10, I bet you find a second reason to be in that aisle. Concentration is the cornerstone of mindfulness practice. Your mindfulness will only be as robust as the capacity of your mind to be calm and stable. Without calmness, the mirror of mindfulness will have agitated and choppy surface and will not be able to reflect the things with accuracy. Without calmness, the mirror of mindfulness will have agitated to a choppy surface and will not be able to reflect with any accuracy. Isn't that interesting? Concentration is the cornerstone of mindfulness, whether it's that moment that you're talking to somebody, that you look them in the eye. Remember what that quote was earlier as well, about when you talk to somebody, concentrate on them, not on what you want to say next. I found that when I'm in deep conversation, I'm going to be having dinner with my friend Marnie this week. And those of you who know me, and I really look forward to those meetings, because we discuss so many things and we can debate. We can talk on two different sides of a subject without any animosity whatsoever. It's just like, okay, this is what I think. What do you think? And, blah, 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 blah. And the interesting thing is that it is the most amazing time for me. My challenge always is to slow down and really listen to what she's saying, because she stimulates my mind to such a degree. That's why I enjoy the meetings so much, that she stimulates my mind to such a degree that I'm going, and I want to get on to the next part. And I'm really working hard each time I meet her. I think I'm so aware that I've got a finite amount of time in which to chat with her, and I have so many subjects I want to cover, and it's just like, just slow down and listen and be in her moment, not in mine. So that is something I think we can all practice. Whoever you are talking to, whether it's a staff member or a member of your family, or somebody on the telephone. I want to tell you, I did the most terrible thing. Somebody phoned me to remind me of an appointment. And I was in the middle of doing something else. I'm sure that you all know that, Heinrich, and we're sure you all know that moment. And, there were two things going on. Something really interesting on the news that I had half a mind on, and I only have 2 cells to start with. But there was something really interesting on the news that was going on. Plus, I was doing something on the computer, answering a really difficult subject on the computer. And then this person phoned me. And I didn't have my day timer with me, and they were busy reminding me of an appointment, and I didn't write down what they said. I just said, yes, fine, no problem, thank you. And guess what? I missed the appointment. And I was quite surprised when they phoned me. And I said, I want to tell you that I am totally at fault. I had a call that was to remind me of it, and I thought it was for next week. And so therefore, I have nothing but apologies to give. Now, I like to think of it this way. Because that was a 2-hour appointment, 1 hour with one person and another hour with another person, I gave 2 people an extra hour of time in their day. Now, I'm going to find out why they needed it. Because you see, that is how my mind works. What was it that they needed to do in that hour that they wouldn't have been able to do if I'd been there? And I'm going to find out. I'll let you know. Jody, if you can put a note for me for next Sunday to remind me. I will have done both those appointments by then, I think. Life is a dance. Mindfulness is watching that dance. You see, life isn't there to upset us. Life is just life. And our job is to be aware that life is in front of us. That person who really messes with your brain is there as a mirror. The whole thing about life is that it's really quite funny. I'm laughing because I'm looking into my bedroom and seeing that I still haven't made my bed. And the reason I haven't is because I wanted to do a video on how to iron your sheets on your bed without using an iron. Would that be of value to anybody? And I just keep going, I can't make the bed because I want to demonstrate this. And And I need to get set up, so it's going to happen tomorrow. I'm going to have to sleep without any sheets on tonight because I don't want to videotape it during the night. It was just so funny. I'm going, yeah, right. But all I have to do is just let go of the need to have sheets on my bed tonight. It is, something, Jody, I have a new duvet, and it really gets itself ironing without using an iron. Yes. Whether it's your clothes or your sheets and pillowcases. I don't know about you, but I like my pillowcases not to have too many creases in them. Do any of you agree with me? But the problem is you wake up every morning and there are creases on your pillowcase. So therefore, would you like to know how to get rid of them without using an iron? And if so, I had a feeling that some of you might, and that's why I wanted to do a video about it. It just, the other thing is this, it crisps up the pillow. No, not a steam thing. Gosh, no, that would be way too difficult. No. I'm going to show you, Isabel. Be patient, my love. Yeah. I can literally have a T-shirt that for some reason fell to the bottom of my cupboard and I really want to wear it. And within a couple of minutes, I've got an iron T-shirt. You see, all those years of traveling as a speaker, spending my life living out of suitcases, I learned something. And I didn't even know that I'd learned it until I learned it. And then I went, wow, when I travel, I now know what clothes I can pack. And I know that they can come out of my suitcase completely rumpled. And, I can literally iron them within 5 minutes. Done. So am I correct then? At least one or two of you would like to know that talent. That's why I haven't made my bed. You see, that's why I needed to talk about it. You're the cat, Sharon, right? Curiosity killed the cat. No, okay, but you understand, isn't that interesting? I'm sitting here doing this broadcast and I keep looking at my sheets, my duvet cover and bottom sheet and everything right over there in my bedroom, 20 feet away. And it's just like, there's part of my brain that's saying, don't tell them you haven't made your bed yet. They will judge you. And I go, no, I need to tell them that because there's a reason for it. Makes sense. And you see, if I listen to my truth, which is there is a good reason why I haven't done it. So you will find out. I will do it tomorrow. Jody, keep asking me, please, tomorrow. We might begin by scanning our body and then asking, what's happening? We might also ask, what wants my attention right now? What is asking for acceptance? Okay, this one's for me. For those of you who've been watching my incredible journey with my diabetes that I got diagnosed with in December, you will remember that I did a magnificent job from December the 20th through to, I would think, almost the end of February, where my weight was doing this, and it was doing it very well. And suddenly my weight has gone back up. And I can feel, you can probably see, I don't know if you can see how fat my hands are, right? You can see the water retention. And it's like, okay, for some reason, my body is holding on to water. And it's like, what do I know? If I'm holding on to water, I need to. When is my nutrition appointment? It is next week, Beth. Yeah, I'm going to talk to them about that because, my sense is that they're going to say I'm taking in too much salt. But the interesting thing is I don't take in a lot of salt. I don't add salt to my meals. I haven't for the longest time. But something else must be creating it, and I'm not sure what it is. I am considering actually, being more aware of what foods I'm eating and around the time that I stop having this problem, because obviously there's something that's creating it, and I don't eat it very often. But, it definitely has an impact. Altogether, the idea of meditation is not to create states of ecstasy or absorption, but to experience being. Are you a human doing or a human being? Think about that. Are you a human feeling sad, or are you a human being? You see, if you are a human being, you are being everything, right? It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be highly motivated. It's okay to be a little slower than some. It's okay to be a little faster than others. The whole thing is about being a human being. Am I able to control myself, or am I on the hamster wheel that we talked about last? We were talking about it in the last video, and it's really, just bear with me a second. It's really important to understand that if you're all caught up in emotion, this is your emotion and this is your rational. We know that the only way that you get from emotion into a better space is to do something, because everything goes through your emotional brain before it gets to your rational brain. But what happens is we get caught up in the hamster wheel of emotion. How many of you recognize that one? And the reason you stay going round and round faster and faster is because you don't do anything to get out of it. And it's okay when you're mindful to be aware that I'm in emotion at the moment. But then, do I want to stay here? Do I want to stay going round and round in circles, faster and faster, getting more upset? No. So the next question is, so what do I want to do about it? What little task can I do to just, the same as you would with a child? When a child is doing something and having a moment, right, you distract them. And so one of the things to learn is, how can I distract my brain from going round and round in circles? So I encourage you this week to experience being, a human being. Well, Nyasha's saying that's great. I never heard the word human being used within the comparison of a human doing. That is astonishing. Wow. Yeah, I want to tell you something, Nyasha. It took me a long time to find out I was really a human doing. By the way, doing things other people wanted me to do most of the time. I spent very little of my time being a human being. I say it in regards to doing DearMamaSal, particularly because somebody said to me, do you realize that if you did this, this, and this, your results would be this, this, and this? And I said, yes, but it's not what I do. And they're going, what do you mean? And I said, I am a human being, and what I do is this. And I know that my reward is different than a lot of people. I do what I do because it does make a difference to somebody. And it's not about how many hundreds of millions of people. In fact, that's not true, because I think what are we up to now? About 1.2 million views. But, it's not about that. To me, it's wonderful that many people have heard and been interested. But to me, what's important are the people that are in the room today that know that they're working on their stuff. All right. Good night, Isabel. Bonsoir. Dormez bien. À bientôt. All those things. The Buddha said, meditate. Do not delay, lest you later regret it. For those of you who know you probably, for your health's sake, need to slow down for a little while every day. All right, Isabel. And for those of you who know you need to slow down a little bit of every day, if you could take just 10 minutes to meditate, maybe just before you go to sleep. One of the ways, if you're a multitasker like Beth, one of the ways you might do it is just as you want to go to sleep, put on, we have the joy of so much stuff on YouTube today, but put on a guided meditation on YouTube and listen to it as you go to sleep, because it will slow your body down and it will help you. And some people I know will put on the Sunday broadcast because of my voice tone, and they find it merci. Yes, definitely. Some people will put it on because the tone of my voice relaxes them and therefore slows them down. I'm also aware of people now knowing that I'm a bit of a night owl, and there was one of my much loved viewers that was wide awake, one that I don't hear from very often, but wide awake about 3:00 in the morning the other morning. And she just sent me a quick email and said, "Are you still awake?" And I went, "Yep." Oh, good, because it was just it was so cute, because I thought she knows me well enough to know that if I would only see it if I was awake, and if I was asleep, I wouldn't see it until the next morning. But I did see it pop up, and I did get back to her, and I thought, isn't that wonderful that she knows that I possibly am going to be awake at that time of the morning. It was really cute. And that wasn't because I was an insomniac. It's because for some reason my time clock just has completely changed since I've been retired. I don't do mornings anymore. I believe that not trying to control things that are out of my control or none of my business. Wow. May I ask you all to think about that? How much more time would you have in your life if you stopped worrying about things that, quite honestly, are none of your business? Yes, Beth is saying, I can force myself to get up early every day so my body will naturally tire at a good time. You see, Beth, what is a good time? How do you know that the time that my clock works on isn't the best time for me? You see, I don't have to be at work at any given time. So to me, it's like, when people want to have appointments with me, I go, I don't do mornings. So, what afternoon? So I don't think I have to be normal, Beth. Why? Okay. So Nyasha's saying, which bit, Nyasha? Which bit did you not get? Yeah, that's why it's always good to have the replay, because you can keep replaying whatever part of it is you want to replay. But if you want to see what somebody said. Yes, take the screenshot. That's a good idea. All right. The basic root of happiness lies in our minds. Outer circumstances are nothing more than adverse or favorable. All right. So Nyasha, in terms of sleep, have you tried putting on meditation music or a guided meditation? That is what I was suggesting. Beth, yes, I did. That's a hi, Kimmy. That's a very good point, right? You were trying to figure out why I lack sleep. I actually lack deep sleep, not sleep. And I believe that I might have found the answer to it, but I'll let you know after a week. Yeah, Anisha, just type into your YouTube search engine. Yeah, go to YouTube any way you like, and then type into their search meditation. And it'll bring up two sorts of meditation. One, it will be meditation music, and if you want to relax and go to sleep to it, try and find a long one, like a 6-hour one or an 8-hour one, and just quietly have that in the background. And the other one is a guided meditation where you can listen to somebody who helps you slow down. Does that make sense, Nyasha? Well, that's a great subject, Beth. Beth's saying, how do we get deep sleep? Is it random, or does our body need something else to achieve it? Jody, let's have a look at that and see if it's worth doing a broadcast on it in terms of the different levels of sleep and why we need them and how to increase them if we need to. Yes, Kimmy likes to listen to rain videos. They've got lapping beach, the water lapping on the beach meditations. There are jungle ones where you can hear the sounds of the jungle. So whatever it is that you feel like doing, it's actually amazing. Is yours normal? I don't think there's anything normal about you, Beth, really. And that's what I love about you. I don't know, but I want to tell you, when I see how many hours you spend in deep sleep, my eyes go like one-armed bandits. It's like somebody just pulled the lever and I go, really? So cute. Wherever you are, be there totally. So I want to thank you all because you come here and you are here for the most part totally for the time that we spent together. And by the way, you realize that by coming and listening to the Sunday broadcast, it is a level of meditation. Niesha saying, so does it have to be played every time I go to sleep, or by playing it each night, the body automatically adjusts? Yeah, you see, this is the whole thing, that if you listen to do you understand, Nyasha, if I say the rhythm of a voice? Sometimes I can talk really quickly. Normally on the Friday broadcasts, I will talk much faster than I do on a Sunday one. I don't know if you've noticed that. Because on Fridays, I'm teaching stuff. On Sundays, my goal is to let's all just slow down a bit. So what I do is I work pretty hard on a Sunday to just lower the tone. I don't know if you've noticed that. I normally talk in a lower tone, but also I'm slowing it down a lot. You see, that I know will subconsciously have an effect on us all. I mean, it has an effect on me as well as probably you. Has anybody noticed that I slow it down on a Sunday, unless I get interrupted a lot? If I get interrupted a lot, I lose that cadence. Yeah. Beth is saying, I used to be a night owl when I didn't work. I played my game all night and then slept really late. I always felt behind, even though the sleep hours would be the same, whether I went to bed early or not. Yes, Beth. So to me, this is like what I get to choose what time I go to bed and wake up now for the rest of my life until if I end up in a home, obviously they will control it. But until then, it's okay with me. Yeah, Kimmy's saying she only gets 3 to 4 hours sleep because of her illness. Would it help you if we did some work on sleep issues, Kimmy, and see if we can help you sleep a bit better than that? If you concentrate on finding whatever is good in every situation, you will discover that your life will suddenly be filled with gratitude, a feeling that nurtures the soul. If you concentrate on finding the good in every situation, you will discover that your life will suddenly be filled with gratitude, a feeling that nurtures the soul. How many of you that are watching or are watching on the replay work on your gratitude every day? That one of the ways you get grounded every day is that you take a moment and think, what am I grateful for today? I always start with the fact that I woke up. I think that's a really good thing to be grateful for. I always am very grateful for technology because you do realize I couldn't do what I do the same way that I do it without the technology. And so, sometimes I will open up my email and there's so many emails that I need to get to. And then I remember, be grateful because the reason they are there is because you're helping people. And it's so strange because people just don't write to you out of the blue. They write to you because they need help with something. So be grateful. Don't be overwhelmed. Be grateful. And sometimes I will just write back a note that says, I'm going to get back to you, but right now I'm overwhelmed and it may take me 48 hours. Yes, Beth is saying, I am grateful for every time I eat because it used to be something I feared. Kimmy's saying, I'm grateful I woke up and that I am alive. Yes, I think, when we can, I'm grateful, I'm grateful that I can breathe. What I've discovered is that when I wake up in the morning, I'm having some problem seeing when I first wake up. And I think it's something to do with my sleep apnea mask and so forth. And I think my eyes get dried or something. I don't know what it is, but I know that each time that I sort of got this problem going on, I go, be grateful you can still see something. And if you are patient, you will see more. And then, just like, okay, it'll be fine just now. Just give it a bit of time. Like you, it needs to wake up. I'm not quite sure what it is. If you clean the floor with love, you will have given the world an invisible painting. Isn't that beautiful? That reminds me of Mother Teresa because she always said that. When she looked for people to work with her in her ministry, it wasn't about whether, how pious they were, how many times they went to church. It wasn't anything to do with that. She wanted to know, could you do any task with love, whether it was clean a toilet, whether it was scrub the floor, whether it was make a bed, could you do it with love? And if the answer was yes, if you could sing while you were doing that. I often think about that, Beth, when I think about you. Do you find that you sing when you do your work? when you are, I know part of what you do is clean buildings. And I wonder whether you have found, do you have, earphones on and do that? Okay, Beth is busy telling me eye issues sometimes connected to diabetes. Okay, I will get that checked out. Thank you very much. Right, and Jody's saying, I'm grateful for Lionel, her husband, and the wonderful friends in my life that make my life so much more meaningful. Yeah. Yes, Beth is saying, yes, I sing all the time. I could imagine you doing it. I'm not very good, but I don't care. Yes, and who's listening? So I think, it doesn't surprise me that you sing when you're doing it, because it's a rhythm. And because you are such a multitask sort of person, I'm pretty sure it gives you a rhythm by which you work. Would I be correct in that? Oh, sorry, it's even when you're at work, you sing. Okay. Ah, all right. So that's a whole different story. Yeah. Beth, the best time I did it, the memory that brings up for me is the very first time I went to London. And I was having my hair done at a very fancy hair place in London. And I didn't know it, but apparently I had a song in my mind and I kept singing it. I didn't not in those days, they used to put the hairdryer over your head. And the owner had to come to me very politely and ask if I could stop singing. I didn't even know I was. Actually, he didn't say that because he was more polite. I think he said, are you aware that you are singing and that everybody is listening to you? And I went, no. Anyway, I try very hard not to do that anymore. Mindfulness means being awake. It means knowing what you are doing. Wow, Beth's saying, that's when they asked me, why am I so positive? And I said, I love myself and I listen to my inspiration, DearMamaSal. Thank you so much. Do not ruin today with mourning tomorrow. Tomorrow will come if we're lucky. Don't worry about it so much. You have it on speaker at work. So you are busy. That is so funny. Crying with laughter here. So what you're doing is you're motivating your crew in vicariously. Everything has a beginning, also has an end. Make your peace with that and all will be well. Everything that has a beginning has an ending. Make peace with that and all will be well. Makes sense? We worry so much, we get so upset. One of the things that I can give you an example of, when I got Bean from the pound many years ago, before I even went to get him, realizing I was getting older, I went and talked to my friend Yvonne and said, I found this dog in the pound that really needs us, and I showed the picture. And I said, I want to get him, but I want to make sure that if anything happens to me, he doesn't go back to the pound. So I'm not saying you have to do this, but if anything happened to me and knowing I would leave enough money for you to look after him in the manner to which he deserves to be accustomed, would you do that for me? All right. So I knew that his beginning in my life could also be problematic. And if if I died before he did. And so before I even went to get him, I made sure that I had sorted that out in my mind. Does that make sense to anybody? Because without that, I didn't want to take him not being sure of that. Yes, just saying, I'm grateful for my life. My mind goes back to 2016 when she had surgery. Yeah, I think it's, we're grateful that you are here with us. Yeah, sure. It's really strange how you found us, and I'm always so grateful. One of the things I say time and time again is I don't need to go looking for the people to find us, because the ones that need us do. How many of you have noticed that? It's not about numbers. It's about, I found that the people who need us find us, and it's magical to me. Well, Jody, I'm not that noble necessarily, and it's very kind of you to say that. But to me, that's responsible. Yes, I like to be responsible when I can. Flow with whatever may happen, and let your mind be free. Stay centered by accepting whatever you are doing. It is the ultimate. For a lot of you, I would suggest you learn to breathe in and say, I can cope. I am strong. I may need help, but I can cope. Sharon, that is so cute. Sharon said, I was one of those. I was a stalker until I figured out what this was. How many months, days, months, years were you a stalker, Sharon? We had somebody come on not so long ago that stalked for 3 years. I can't remember who it was. But I thought that was amazing. Was it you? It was like 3 years that they apparently watched it all, and didn't say a word. I'm going, that's not within my capability, but anyway. Okay, so it was only a month, yeah. I know somebody else who said they cried nonstop for 3 months because watching the broadcast, because they couldn't believe that somebody was actually helping people. And they were in such mental turmoil at the time. And she said to me, I literally sat there for 3 months and cried that you were doing what you're doing the way that you do it. And I said, I just need to be consistent. I just need to be here, and people know I'm here. And when I made the choice to go onto YouTube, it upset a lot of people. But, I realized if I put it all on YouTube, after I've gone, it'll still be there. So really what I decided was if I put it all onto YouTube, I don't have to be here anymore. It'll still be there helping people, hopefully. Flow with whatever may happen and let your mind be free. Stay centered, accepting whatever you are doing. It is the ultimate. You see, when you can see that everything that is happening in your life is there to teach you something. It was interesting. Something was happening in Jody's life this week, and also in mine, and also in Lauren's. And it was interesting because I was saying that, this is the magical moment for us to all learn a lesson. And obviously we need to do it differently because the way we're doing it hasn't been working. And it's not about something else changing. It's maybe the way that we do it needs to change. And it was really interesting because we all sat and talked about it and worked out what we could do differently. And we did. And it was amazing. So this is about, if you just stay calm and in the moment and not work so hard at trying to change everybody. Maybe the person that needs to change is you. And it's amazing that when you can come from that place, it maybe isn't that you were in the wrong. It's just like what you're doing isn't working. Yes, I think that we all have lessons in life, and that I've always said to people that the lesson will keep repeating until we've got it. All right. So if you keep getting the same problem coming back and back and back again, the chances are you haven't got the lesson yet. Life is better when we don't try to do everything. Learn to enjoy a slice of life, the slice of life you experience, and life turns out to be wonderful. Listen to that. Life is better when we don't try to do everything. Learn to enjoy the slice of life you experience, and your life turns out to be wonderful. Wow. I don't think I can top that one. Is there anything anybody needs to quickly let me know about before we go off onto our week? I don't believe we've got any upcoming birthdays this week. And if we have, then I will put them up later. I'll put them up on the DearMamaSal.com website. What's for dinner, Beth? Yes, Beth, you always like to know that, right? Tonight is by popular demand. By popular demand, Beth. It's shepherd's pie, and I cooked it. I just want to talk a little bit about that because it's important. I now cook equal, if not more. In other words, if this is the hamburger meat, I will liquidize an equal amount of vegetable to mix in with it, and maybe a little bit more. Does that make sense? So this much meat, this much vegetable, and then I mix that all together. And then I add in, now the interesting thing is that Yvonne has a problem with onions, but she loves the taste of them. So one of the things that I do is I will cook onions in my food, but I leave them in pretty big chunks so Yvonne can pick them out. And she always says, you don't have to do that. And I go, yes, I know that they cause you a problem. So, I want to leave them in big enough so you can see them. How many of you can hear the love in that? Because that is, that's how I feel about it. And the other thing is, if I'm cooking something, when I'm cooking something that I think that maybe her father won't be able to eat, I look into the fridge and see what foods do I have frozen that I know he enjoys. And then I'll say to her, we're having this, which I know Papa doesn't like. So his choices are, he can have turkey, pork, beef, or whatever, and beef barley soup or whatever it is I've got frozen. And I will do a separate meal for him. What do you make with mashed potato instead of flour? Sharon, don't let 60 be painful. Make 60 be the beginning of your next life. I want to tell you that once I got to 60, it was like, if you haven't grown up by 60, you don't have to. I started to play at 60 again. Okay. So Nyasha may have to go back for Jody. Can you make a note for me about Nyasha having to go back possibly for another surgery? Yeah, I will. I will definitely keep that in mind. And by the way, that could be a wonderful thing for you. Yeah, sure. I'm not going to talk about it publicly because you asked me not to, but that could be an amazing thing for you. Wow. It might change your life completely. So we will make sure. When will you know that? When do you go overseas again? And where do you go? I've got to go. I've got to go cook. Nyasha, let me know. Drop me a messenger note and let me know when you're going and where you're going. Just, you don't. Yeah, exactly. That would be awesome. I think it will change your life in some ways. I really do. That is, I'm very pleased to hear it. And I know, are you a little bit scared, Nyasha? If so, that would be, I think, quite normal. All right. So our thoughts and prayers will go out to you. Just drop me a note and let me know when it's going to happen. Ah, tomorrow. Okay. So our thoughts and prayers go with you. Jody, please make sure I put up a note tonight, please. Safe travels, bon voyage, and we'll look forward to hearing the results. Let me know. Yeah. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Stay in the present, one step at a time towards whatever it is you're trying to achieve. This is DearMamaSal saying thank you so much for being here and for supporting one another. This group changes every now and then, different people. What is really important is that you all understand, whether you know it or not, that you make a difference in people's lives just by being here and talking about your things. You see, you all help other people by your experiences and by their ability to be able to see the problems they have and the problems you have and be able to help themselves better. For that, I am so very, very grateful. This is DearMamaSal saying, remember to look after one another, but please, 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 remember to take the time to look after yourself as well. Bye-bye for now. Have a good week.